host, Isaiah, and this is Tyler, our guest for the week. Say hello, Tyler.
How's it going, everybody? Thanks so much for having me, Isaiah. It's really an honor and a pleasure.
Absolutely. Glad to have you on. If for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, Art Post Cove is a sort of podcast discussion, interview, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. It's a time. It's a time where we talk about art post Cove. Well, very simple. Everything changed in 2020, and we are looking to see from all sorts of different ages and varieties of arts, how we can band together and create a community where we can build upon from this pain because we've got nothing through this whole pandemic and we need to do it somehow. So we're starting the conversations here today at our Post Cove, if I can speak today. Anyways, how are you doing, man? How has it been? It's been so long since I've seen you.
It really has, Isaiah. It's been a
Yeah.
while. As you might have been able to hear, I am living at home with my loving, amazing, and incredibly loud at the worst possible moment dog. Her name's Piper. She is my
Yeah.
pride and joy, and I love her with all my heart. But whenever I try to do something fun and creative like this,
Yep.
she decides to fit. So
Uh,
you may hear her a little bit in the background. Apologies.
uh,
She's just but a wee little puppy.
wee little puppy.
90-pound puppy.
Oh, I
We
didn't
had no
realize
idea.
that.
We had
Really?
no idea. We got her over the summer, and not the summer, the summer before
Mm,
last, and she was like this little itty bitty thing, and they were like,
yeah.
"Oh, she's probably gonna be 35 pounds," and my mom was like, "Great, we want a medium sized dog." And we took her to the vet the other day
Oh my lord.
for her checkup, and they were like, "So you want a bath with the checkup, right?" And we're like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Well, we hate to break it to you, but we're going to have to move her up from the large size dog to the extra large size dog price because she weighs 90 pounds."
Lovely 30-pound dog you got there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But we love her. We love her. All 90
Oh,
pounds.
oh yes, we love Piper. We do.
But I digress.
Absolutely, Well, hey, before we get going, got to do the classic, the drink of the show. So the show, we always do a drink if you're new here. And last week or 2 weeks ago, because we're bi-weekly, I guess, um, we tried out kombucha for the first time. Well, got requests. They're like, Isaiah, I'm telling you right now, we need more kombucha content. And so I
Good.
brought more kombucha content. So we went to the bodega again about 5 minutes before this started because I can't do anything without procrastination. And so we have Brew Doctor Kombucha. Check out that. In the flavor, love. The
Wow.
flavor is love. It is lavender, chamomile, or chamomile for you who don't know how to pronounce that. Or if you're, I don't know, there's a billion ways to pronounce it. It's all wrong. It's like chamomile. Is that even? I don't.
Chamomile.
Yeah. Oh my lord. Yeah, you can pronounce it a lot of ways. And then jasmine green tea. I have no idea. It's a twist top. It looks dope. It
Mm.
looks like it's full of love. So
It really does, Isaiah. It really
yeah,
does. They used to only sell that at Trader Joe's, and I think it just got so popular. Now they're selling it everywhere.
they're selling
Uh,
love everywhere
they're selling love,
because that's all we need now.
right?
The famous Beatles song, yeah.
Here it comes.
That certainly is love. That's love in
Yeah,
a cup. That's
you don't hate
it's
it.
love in a cup. Yeah, it's
Not like
wonderful.
vinegar version of love.
I mean, I tasted vinegar initial. That's like every time with kombucha, but I feel like the further you go into it, I'm also going off of one time. Um,
Yeah,
the further you go in, the less you taste the vinegar. But that initial, you're just like,
right. So
yeah, but then it gets better.
I saw your last episode, of course, and
Lovely.
look what I brought.
Ah,
I
I brought love and you brought happy.
brought love, and I brought happy because this guy right here needs a little bit of happiness.
Oh my god.
And this is orange vanilla and L-theanine.
What the fuck is L-theanine?
Uh, let's see. Orange vanilla and L-theanine to unleash the inner joy that only a visit from the ice cream truck can conjure. Okay. Give in to good humor and go towards the light. Health aid.
L-theanine.
Happy.
Happy. Oh my god.
It's good.
Wow. It's good. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. We'll give our final reviews at the end of the show. That's how we do it here.
Sounds good.
Out of 10 usually, so get just thinking, during our little discussion. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But anyways, Tyler, tell us where you're coming from, what you do, and most
Oh,
importantly, we'll save that for later because that was a tease.
ooh. What do you want me to start with?
Tease.
There's so much there. There's so much there. What should
All
I
right.
start with?
Well, you're not in New York. That's for sure.
I am most certainly not in New York. I am currently in my older brother's older, well, used to be room. I turned it into an office that I use to
Yeah.
teach from. I teach remote lessons. I really need to straighten out this king size bed sheet. But that's on the
That
list of
is a
things.
king size bed. That is genius.
You bet it is. I
I
put up a wooden frame because there's a window behind that. So during the day, it would just
Yeah.
blare right into my camera, and yeah, it was a pain in the butt. So just put up some wood, and yeah, I made
2021
do with what I have.
hacks. 2021
Yeah, you
hacks.
bet.
Yeah.
You bet. So I'm currently in Concord, New Hampshire, which is like if anybody watching this has ever been to Boston, it's like an hour north without traffic, 3 hours north with traffic.
Yeah.
So it's a great place. I was born and raised here, and there's some really great people in this community. I've got a lot to be thankful for. It's a huge privilege to be living here,
Mhm.
and doing what I do. Of course, there's challenges to everybody's situation,
Yeah.
but
You know.
um, but yeah, I'm not in New York yet.
Yet. This is what we call foreshadowing, friends. If you've never heard
Indeed.
of it, you should hit Urban Dictionary up. Ooh, foreshadowing. Whatever that was.
It was something. It was a moment.
Yeah, we had one. We had a nice moment there.
Sure. So yeah, I'm in Concord.
Yeah. What do you do?
What do I do? What don't I do? I do way
Oh
too
yeah.
much.
That's literally
I
everyone right now.
Isaiah, look, a constant issue that I have in my life is that I have trouble saying no to things. I have problems like finding like a niche and sticking, or is it niche or niche? Like this is a separate topic, but is it
Niche
niche?
niche is an Americanized version, and niche would be the French. What I would think the French original, like how it was supposed to sound in the French original language. But then everyone has a different opinion.
Right. Unimportant, yet also important, because I think about that a lot. I don't know why, but I do.
Yeah.
Um, so the niche. I can't find a niche. I know about myself that I love art. I love performance art. I love performing arts, and I love helping people. And anything that satisfies one of those, I'm like, okay, I might as well try it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh my god.
Which
Right.
is a problem. Which is a
Mm.
big
Yeah.
problem.
Because everyone wants you to brand yourself. Everyone's like, "Oh, what's your brand? What's your brand?" Oh my god! It's like I don't
Exactly.
fucking know. I don't know. I like this thing, that thing, that thing. Can I do all of them? No, no. That's what it
Exactly.
is.
Exactly. I'll give you an example. I was in high school, and I did so many different things. I was in art honor society, I was in chorus, I was in drama club, of course. I was I was almost in band.
Yeah,
And I did so many different things.
yeah.
I was in model UN. I did this, that, and the other thing. I did technical theater. I did classical singing. And so when I went to college, people who like kind of knew me, like they would say hi to me in the hallways in high school. If I'd run into them, like say at the grocery store, they'd be like, "Oh, Tyler, what'd you go to school for? Did you go for like politics or technical theater?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah, you're missing the mark. You're missing that.
Well,
So, but
you'd be like, did you go to school to be like a music teacher or like a photographer?" Or I'm like, "No."
no, not at
So
all.
that trend has continued, and I'm having trouble branding myself because I feel that pressure to brand myself. I don't know. Do you? Because I know you do opera, you do so many things. You do with podcasts now. Like, do you ever feel kind of that way?
Dude, yeah. I mean, like, here's the deal. Like, I know I want to do. I've always been pretty hell bent on music and music in general. But
Yeah.
I think something that you and I don't share is I think vocal range, and I think that gives you a lot more flexibility than me, because can't do Broadway if you're not high strong. Um,
I disagree. That's a whole
ah,
different episode altogether.
yeah, yeah, no, yeah, as I like classical music. I like classical music, but I also like jazz. But I don't know, maybe I want to start an indie band here in Brooklyn or something.
Ooh.
I don't know. So it's like it's hard to say. Um, but yeah, I totally feel that. It's just like shit. It's just like, hey, what's your brand? I'm like, I don't fucking
Yeah.
know. I just want to make funny TikToks and also like talk about stuff and also sing and also make vlogs, which I never should have made, but I still made them.
Goodness
Maybe there'll be
gracious.
more coming in the future. Check your YouTube sub
Ooh.
box.
What was that thing we did?
Foreshadowing. But like that's not actual foreshadowing because I'm probably not going to do that again. Never say never though. But yeah, branding
Justin
is
Bieber.
so awful and just yeah. But Tyler, what did you go to school for? I'll say that, and it makes it so much easier.
That is the question. I got my Bachelor of Fine Arts in musical theater
A
from a school.
musical.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Something
Yeah.
wrong. Yeah.
I got my BFA from Boston Conservatory,
Yeah.
where we initially crossed paths, which is super cool.
Crossing
Um,
paths, crossing
yeah,
what?
it was like two ships in the night. We kind
Oh
of were
yes.
just like, "Oh hi, bye. Oh hi,
Oh.
we're back."
Oh
Oh.
my god. It just
So yeah,
bonks the
that
mic. Oh my lord.
oh, story of my life.
Having a
Story of
time. Having a time here. Yeah, well that's dope. And so you're my multi-talented person on the show
more
right
like
now.
more like frazzle brained.
Frazzle
In
brained. I want to do everything, but like do it all half well.
that's the thing. Like if I
Yeah.
picked one of these things, I might actually be able to like do pretty well at it.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it is. I just can't pick.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah. It's like, what am I gonna do? Like, it's like, yeah, I like this, but I also like this, but also like everybody I've talked to about this show off, that wants to come on and do this. It's the same story.
yeah,
Everyone. It's such a like. I feel like a moderately. I don't want to say this to get no fuck it. It's my fucking show.
it is.
This happens with I feel like mostly only artists. They want to do everything. Like I feel like artists a lot of the time have a hard time with the ones that really do go after it and like start like really want to get out there and create really high level art. They feel like they have to really focus in and there's a lot that they want to do outside of just what you know their career path is like than say like a business person or a lot of people people will have career changes, but a lot of like in the art industry there's so many people that just like can do so much and want to do so much.
Right.
It's not just their focus, so yeah, I did not intend to talk about this, but this is a dope conversation topic.
It really is.
um Glad we came here. But segue, because I can't do a
Segue.
real one. I'm just gonna say segue whenever I'm segueing.
It works.
With everything, talking about that. We've talked a lot about art, but my real question for you, my friend, is what is art? What
Oh
makes
boy.
art art? And what does it mean to you?
this is what I tell a version of what I'm about to say to all my students, which is something we can talk about in a moment.
Yeah.
um, art is the pure individual reflection of one person's own truth through various means.
That's wild. That is wild. I didn't know I was going to be on the Joe Rogan show today doing DMT and everything. That's I'm
Because
like I feel like my brain just went like the meme of Joe Rogan where he's like,
right, right. But like the reason I say like it's the
Mhm.
pure individual truth of someone that they express through various means. That I feel like if I'm defining art, it has to be really like vast definition.
Yes.
It has to be really broad. Because if I say it's something that looks pretty, that pretty is a judgment word.
Yeah.
Subjective. So on and so forth. So, and I feel like when it comes down to it, all art has to do with truth and a
Mhm.
truth from one person's perspective. Um, even when it comes to different works um of like political theater, for example, when we're talking about like Brechtian devices of like using art as a hammer to shape reality through an alternate truth, there's still someone they're saying like that's the truth that I want to happen, and they're expressing it the way that only they could. So I think when it comes down to it, art is truth according to one person's perspective expressed through various means. That is the concise, lack of super long pauses version.
Yes. I appreciate that. It's hard because, it's like it's such it's a three-letter word that stands for so much, you know.
Absolutely.
And it's so hard to define. I mean, to me, I'm really bad at defining things, and that's why I have a podcast to rant to hope someone understands what I what I'm defining, what I'm trying to do here. And so yeah, I that's wild. That's a wild. I've never heard it said that way, and I really like that.
Well, I'm
But
glad you like it.
yeah, but what I gotta ask now is, but what does it mean? What does it mean to you? Because we got your definition, but like, what does art mean to you particularly as someone who is super, super invested, but also very highly trained in the art in general, the art form. You've spent a lot of time, a lot of hours.
Yeah,
They say 10,000 hours is a mastery for like
absolutely.
a skill, and so what does it mean?
What does it mean to me? What does art mean to me? Art's everything to me. It's everything. I feel like I could not exist as a human without being involved in art. Because to level with you, I mean, you know this, but to put it on the record, I suffer from anxiety and depression. And
Yeah.
something that I always had trouble with growing up was finding an outlet for how I felt, finding an outlet for like an appropriate. It's not that I like did inappropriate things as an outlet, but I was looking for. There was always a part of my soul that was like, how do I speak in a way that's greater than speaking? How
Yeah.
do I leave something? How do I physicalize a feeling or a thought or the thought of a feeling or vice versa, and finding music, movement, theater, writing, photography, songwriting, painting, pottery, cooking, even baking. There, sometimes like even when I was a minute ago when I was explaining what is art, I was like, uh,
Right. It's so
I'm
vast.
taking a moment to think because I knew the idea, but having a way to have that idea expressed in a way that's specific and deeply personal to myself that I can have like as a thing, whether or not that thing is a material thing or a moment in time, being theater or dance or music, that gives me so much peace. And it what it means to me is that I can be confident just like letting something live, letting an idea or a feeling live, having worked on it and being able to just like put it out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that makes a
So
lot of sense to me.
it's kind of like a gateway or a pathway for me.
Yeah, totally. I
I
feel
know that
that.
was like a super duper ramble, but like I guess this is a
Dude, you're
podcast.
on my no, well, you're also on my podcast too. So there's that too. So rambles, so welcome. Um
Here's to that.
absolutely. A little bit of happy, a little bit of love, toss it back, you know. Um yeah, art is so it's so vast. It's indescribable,
Absolutely.
and we just really can't like even when I try to describe things, and someone who's not the greatest at describing things, it's so impossible. Even when I think about what is art, I find myself either making it honestly, usually making it too small. And that's like part of the idea is that the art is so big, it's so much more than just what, is shoved in our face. Art is not just, oh, the stage. But no, there's also visual. There's also, videography, there's constant innovation always, where we are here today. This is what we're talking about, the format in which we're talking about. It all changes. It's constantly evolving. And even back in the day, when you like learned about it in school, like art was like still a lot of things and you couldn't cover it all when you were learning about like historical, like when 1700s, 1800s, Renaissance. There was still like, oh, there was this, but there was also this, there was also this and this and this.
Yeah.
And the history books never do justice for
No,
how
no, no.
much there really was. And if there was one today, I'd be like, sorry guys, you have a impossible task and an impossible job to do. So, you know, there's that. But yeah, no, art is so much, and it is
It really is. It's so much.
and there's so many people out there that feel like it's not important and it's not there. But I'm like, bro, you watch Netflix. You
Yeah.
watched it during quarantine, and this is my ultimate segue into 2020. But really, it was just a tease. Another tease. We got another tease on the show here today. We're really teasing you guys. Uh, you know, nothing like that, huh? What were you doing before though? You were a senior in college. You were doing the thing that I was doing. You
I
were
was
impossible to get a hold of, might I add, because you were
oh my
just
God.
slammed. You
I
never had a minute.
so
So
remember like what was it like 3 minutes ago when you were like, "What do you do?" And I was like, "Ah!"
yeah.
This is another example of it. I
Yeah.
was finalizing plans for a New York City showcase where I would sing.
Mhm.
I was also finishing up directing a production of The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime in Boston
Oh my lord.
while doing finals, while doing everything, while working a job, paying rent, uh, doing the whole adulting thing,
Yeah.
to put
As
it
you
brief.
do. As you do.
Exactly. And so I was doing that, and I was doing all of them, but not as good as I could have done if I did just like one or two of them, which is
Literally.
the story of
Literally.
my life. They're probably gonna write that on my gravestone
Yeah.
someday. Um, but yeah, I was doing all of that stuff. I was finishing up my time at the Boston Conservatory. I was planning my life. I had a contract with a theater called the Peterborough Players, and I was so thankful. They're such wonderful people at the Peterborough Players. I was going to be a part of their company for the summer, and I was going to play, believe it or not, Jack in Into the Woods, which like some people would be like, no, come on, Tyler, that's
Really.
not your type. But like they
I'll
thought it
take
was.
it.
So I guess it is. So I was gonna be there, and then I remember I it feels so far back in my mind, but I don't know if you remember this, but there was a moment on the news where I remember opening my phone and seeing like an Apple News alert, right? I was opening my
Mhm.
phone and there was an Apple News alert and it was like schools in Japan set to close for a month. New virus spreads beyond China. And I was like, oh, do you think? And then back to my anxiety impression. My anxiety brain was like, everything that you know will change. You will leave the city. You will not showcase in New York. You will lose your contract. You will lose everything.
But it's always wrong, right?
But this one time, my anxiety brain was right. We're still going to therapy. Anywho.
I mean, for me, when I figured it out, it was like my boss. I mean, I already mentioned it before, but my boss at work, he like told me about it. And honestly, I had some sleepless nights over it in like January before it happened, because he was like on the deep web, and he found like these videos of them people in Wuhan like freaking the fuck out. And I was like, bruh. And he's like, we're going to have to lock down. We're going to be everyone against themselves or something. I'm like, what the fuck? Am I going to have to buy a gun? In the state of Indiana? People are going to get coronavirus. It's going to turn into zombies? No, no.
Oh gosh.
Be kind of
I've watched what is it? 3-4 seasons of The Walking Dead, so I'm prepared.
Yeah, I could handle some zombies, It's not too bad,
Come at me.
Yeah, come at me,
But anyways, where were we?
I don't know. We were talking about COVID. You had the shows, you had the auditions, you had the finals,
auditions, finals.
Weren't you also doing like a songwriting minor too?
I was junior year. I was doing a songwriting emphasis, and I put out a god awful single on my Spotify. If you want a good laugh, go listen to it. But I am still proud of it.
It was pretty good. I thought it was pretty dang good. But
thank you. It's very sweet. But it's like I put it out to make a statement, because I was miserable, and my Spotify is my name. It's Tyler Shore. Just it's not,
there you go.
Not the best song. It was. I had to have a song finished for the morning to perform live. No, I'm wrong. It was the midterm. I had to submit a fully produced song, a single, and I was like, oh my god, I can't do it. And so I was at my keyboard. I literally fell asleep. I was like, I literally hunched over my keyboard, and then I woke up. I woke up. I fell asleep at 2. I woke up at 3:30 a.m.
I fell asleep at 2 a.m.
Literally, and I'm like, and I'm like, that groan is a beat. And then I just put it down on a bass guitar track, and then I just did a simple drum machine, and I literally improvised a chorus and 2 verses, and I'm like, you know what?
There it is.
There it is. And a week prior, do you know Imogen Heap, the artist?
No, I don't. I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh.
Do you know what you say?
Yeah.
The only man in the world.
Yeah.
That's her. But of course, there's the rap song, and that was sampled. She does incredible work, and she no longer does music. She does speaking, and she works to get musicians paid fairly. Like, that's her life's work right now, is to get like all the people involved in music paid fairly. Imogen Heap, great person. So a week prior, the building I was working in Berkeley was like having her there, and so on my lunch break, I went down from the 6th floor to the 1st floor, and I poked my head in, and she said, in her lovely British accent, which I won't try to impersonate, she said that, and I still have a recording of it on my phone. I listen to it from time to time. She said, the most crippling thing to live with as an artist is the fear of having to have something that is finished in order for it to be ready. And that's hit me like a truck.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there at 5 a.m. and I was like, Imogen, you're right. I submitted it instantly to DistroKid. There are a few notes that have intonation issues. I am well aware, but I am proud that I allowed myself to just put something out there. And that's why I haven't taken it down. Despite my I probably should take it down.
Who gives a shit?
But it's there as a statement.
Yeah.
So yes, to answer your question in a very long form, I did
Yeah.
do songwriting.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
How about you, indie
God.
band?
Oh, indie band. Oh fuck, I ain't ever doing that. Well, we'll see. I got a couple things in the work. I'm thinking about some things. We'll see. We'll see what comes out in the summer.
Yeah.
If there's something coming out, you guys will know. But I have to start work on it if I do. Can't produce
No
something.
better time than
Can't.
the present.
Yeah, for real. Can't release something that isn't created.
True.
But yeah. Lovely. So, tell me a little bit about your journey through 2020. What was so obviously when we talk about 2020, we're not talking about January, February. We're talking about March forward, particularly March 14th,
Oh
allegedly
my
COVID
goodness.
Remembrance Day. When the lockdowns happened, what we talked about, a little bit of what you had, and then of course we could talk about what you lost, everything like that, a little more in depth, and also just like hobbies you kept and tossed. Just go ahead.
Okay, here comes the ramble.
All right,
Here comes.
been waiting.
So March 13th. I know you said March 14th. I
It
know.
was different everywhere else. That was just New York City.
Yeah. So March 12th, I get an email saying extended spring break. We're gonna play it safe. There's this scary thing coming around. So like just like go home. We're gonna make spring break 2 weeks
Okay.
instead of one. And then when you come back, you're gonna be online for a week, and then we're gonna be back. Everything's gonna be great. And then I talked to one of my teachers, and she I won't name her, but she told me that she had contacts from family members in the National Guard and higher ups in the military saying that like there's a lockdown coming, no one's going back to school, get all your things, move out of your apartments. And I spread that word, and thank God I did, because by the end of the 2 weeks of spring break, we got an email saying the rest of the semester is canceled and
Yep.
will be held online. Well, so not canceled. It will be held virtually. Um, but rewinding a little bit, I was finishing up directing The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, which was a very important show to me. Being someone who is neurodivergent, for those of you who don't know, neurodivergent means not neurotypical. Neurotypical meaning like you don't have anxiety, you don't have depression, you just deal with normal people, well, quote unquote, normal people
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah.
Having anxiety, depression, attention deficit disorder. I always had moments where I really felt like the world seemed different to me, or I seemed different to the world. And so being able to produce a work that highlighted the autistic community was really great. It was really great. We worked with some really great artists with autism. We had them in, and it was so great. And it was going to be this incredible culmination. I was so tired, I wasn't sleeping.
Yeah. I
And
remember.
I literally did not sleep for a week. It was so unhealthy. It killed my immune system. Foreshadowing. It killed my immune system. And so that happened. And then we opened, and it's great. Standing ovation. I was so proud of my cast and my team, my assistant director. Her name's Julia. Fantastic. Oh my gosh. So many incredible people on that team. Even though like it was so stressful in the moment and there was so many things that were kind of like falling through the cracks, it was a really stressful time. It could not have been, I could not have picked a worse time to open and close a show. And so on closing night, the lights go down, and I've got my ginger ale. I'm sitting next to my best friend. Her name's Lama. She came to see my show, and I was like, I'm so excited you're going to see my show. The lights go down. I take a sip of my ginger ale, and it's like, welcome to the theater. Please silence your cell phones. And then I go, and I feel a wave of nausea pass over me like nothing else. And I look to my right, and I'm like, I gotta go. And they're like, is everything okay? Because I'm the director, and most of the people in the audience knew I was the director. And so seeing a director go like, I gotta go. That's a little worrisome.
Yeah, just a little bit.
And so I ran to the bathroom, and the show is 2.5 hours long. I kid you not. Um, grossness trigger warning.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
warned. I threw up 7 times for 2.5 hours
Oh
straight.
my
I was
god,
on
I
the
never
floor.
heard about this. Oh my god.
I was on the floor of that bathroom, miserable. And then the fever hit like a truck. I was dizzy. I was dehydrated. I rallied and I was like, "Oh, it's just food poisoning. It's something I ate," because I felt a little bit better. And we didn't really know all of the symptoms of COVID back then. What we heard is that it's a upper respiratory illness where you cough a lot.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not coughing. I'm okay. I don't have COVID. And so I go down, everyone bows, and I give a tiny little speech. I'm like, thank you everyone for coming. I'm not feeling well. I need to go home. I don't have a cough. It's not COVID.
Yeah.
So I thought. And then everyone's giving hugs, and I say bye to everyone. And again, that was back during the days when we were like, don't you dare wear a mask. They need to be saved for the medical professionals because they don't really help. We know that is not true now.
Mm.
Anywho, I go home. I go to bed. I wake up in the morning. I have 104-degree fever.
Holy shit.
And I'm dehydrated. I can't get out of bed. I'm miserable. I'm supposed to go to class. And I go, nope. I missed one of my finals. And I'm like, am I going to graduate? This is scary.
Yeah.
Not one of my finals, one of my midterms. And I needed to get a good grade on that. And especially because I wanted to graduate with honors. I ended up graduating with honors. Thank God. But basically, I was in bed. I called the hospital after the second day of having that fever. I didn't take like Tylenol or Motrin or Advil just because I was going off of the advice of medical professionals in my life, like my brother and a few other people who are often like, only take it if it's really, really bad, because often having a fever means it's working. And if you dull the fever, your immune system isn't as good because the higher temperature kills the bugs, yada, yada, yada. So I was just riding it out. And I got to the point on the second day where I was like, I am miserable. I literally haven't slept because I'm shivering and shaking. Wow. So I called the hospital and I'm like, hi, I think I might be in danger of peril. And they were like, what's your fever? And I'm like, 104.7. They're like, that is high. You need to take Motrin now. I'm like, okay. And so I took it. I was like,
yeah,
a little bit of water, could barely stomach anything. And so I'm like, I don't have a cough. That means I don't have COVID, right? They're like, well, actually,
oh Christ.
the hospital is full. So unless you want to come here and sleep on the ground until a bed opens up, do you think you'd be more comfortable in the bed you're currently in than the floor of the hospital? And I was like, uh-huh. And they're like, good. The hospital is over capacity. Most of the people here who have COVID do not have coughs. They have symptoms mirroring yours. You have COVID. And I'm like,
Yep.
ah!
Peeked there for a bit.
There's the audio test that you,
yeah.
that you needed. So yeah, I laid in bed. I was sick for 2 weeks. I didn't eat for like 3 days, and then I Uber Eated.
Yeah,
Uber
eight.
Uber
Over eight.
Uber.
You know.
I past tense. I Uber ate. Um, a acai bowl,
yeah.
and I made it really, really mild. And then I ate it. I stomached it, and then I survived
Somehow.
somehow or another. So, do you hear my dog in the background?
Nah, not at all.
Okay.
We're just screaming so loud.
we're just screaming. So,
yeah.
I digress. Where was I? I heard my dog barking.
Yeah, you know, you took the Motrin, you know, you had the acai bowl, but You basically had COVID. You made it through. It is what it is. What did it
Yeah,
do to your industry?
it wiped us out.
Yeah.
It wiped us out
Even
totally.
to this day. Now that's a fire I'm just trying to stoke.
Yeah, literally. What we all say in the performing arts industry is we're the first to close, last to reopen.
Yep.
And here's my soapbox. I'm going to jump in my soapbox for a minute. Apologies. There is an act that is being proposed called the Cobra Act. Please, if you're watching this, look up the Cobra Act. It will help so many people like myself who, I mean, I have 4 jobs that I'm juggling right now. We'll get to that in a minute. But so many people who don't have the funds to relocate and can't get other jobs, who might be immunocompromised, who can't get other jobs in person, who literally they can't get anything.
Yeah,
And
they'll
as an
die.
independent contractor, it's tougher. It's tougher to get that stimulus money. I didn't get
Yeah.
a single dollar of those stimuluses. Stimuli?
Yeah.
Stimuli?
I was not
This is becoming.
stimulated. I was not stimulated at
I
all.
was not stimulated by the federal government. I don't even want to think about that.
I was
I
not
don't even
stimulated by McConnell.
would be the
Yeah.
Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
Anywho,
Oh my god. Anyway, I digress.
so yeah, it's been really really rough for the performing arts industry. As I said at the beginning of this, like I'm back in Concord, New Hampshire. I am so thankful and grateful to be here because there's a few really wonderful places that I've been working at a little bit
Wonderful.
because there's very little work to be had, but they've been helping me out as much as they possibly can. Um,
Yeah.
but
So,
yeah, this is probably
cool.
yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Digging more into that. You had a variety of side hustles. You had a variety of things you tried throughout the whole thing. You know, um,
That's right.
tell us about what
Where
was
should we start?
what was rotten fruit and what did you keep?
I don't know. Does YouTube do that thing where they listen to your words and they can like censor it based off of, or is that just a TikTok thing?
I don't give a shit.
Okay, great.
I've
Great.
said fuck, shit, piss.
I was gonna
That's
say
my thing here.
the multinational company that is named after the greatest oxygen producing forest on the planet, Amazon.
Yeah, the
So
Amazon side hustle, the short-term Amazon side
um,
hustle.
I'm still technically employed by them, so like if they see this, I'm getting officially fired. But
Yeah, whatever.
I I got home and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. I have to pay rent through September. Also, I lost my job on November, September. Oh my gosh, I'm going crazy. I lost my job on March 13th.
Right.
Gone.
They just like kicked you.
Because I was working for the admissions office at Berklee College of Music.
Yeah.
And that was my part-time job, and that was helping me make rent. Aside from my other side hustles, I was doing photography stuff, I was doing other performance opportunities, and that was really helping me make ends meet besides the loans that I had to take out. So I lost that job, and because it was for a school while I was a student at the Boston Conservatory, I was not eligible for the stimulus.
Yeah.
So I get home and I'm like, oh my God. I literally had $900 in my bank account.
Yeah.
And I had, let's see, my rent was disgustingly high.
1,300 or something.
April, May, June, July, August. I had 4 months of rent left. And so that was $5,000.
Oh my god.
And so that was $5,000 that I didn't have, that I had to come up with, or I was going to not be able to pay rent. And thank God for my mother. She's always helped me. She's been my rock, my champion. She's the best.
Feeling. Shout out to my mother too.
Shout out to moms everywhere.
Listening.
We would literally not be alive without them.
Literally, yeah, for real.
But yeah, I get home and I look on Indeed.com and I look up part-time job, and then I look for COVID safe, and then this one company comes up, which is It's called a DSP. It's like a direct service provider, which is a sub company that hires drivers to drive for Amazon, and the company's contracted, but you're an employee of the separate company, not of Amazon. But literally, I wore like an Amazon vest, an Amazon hat, an Amazon mask,
Yeah.
van. For all intents and purposes, I was working for Daddy Bezos.
Yes.
I digress. Um, so I get there. They're like, "We're so glad you showed up because we don't just accept nobody here. Got any history of violent drug offenses?" And I go, "No, sir. I don't smoke. I don't
Oh my
drink."
God.
And he's like, "Well, kid, you can be honest with me. If you do a little weed, if you do a little coke, that's okay. I was
Oh
a
my
kid once,
God.
and I was
Oh
like,"
my God. No.
and he's like, "You been in any vehicular manslaughter incidents or anything, or what's your driving record look like?" And I'm like, "Well, there was this one time where I was following a little close, and this woman slammed on her brakes, and her car technically hit mine, and we were both going 20 in like a downtown area. And now I know not to follow so close. I'm a very
Yeah.
safe driver. I take pride in that. I
Yeah.
drive at the speed limit or under. Like I
Yeah.
cross my heart and hope to die. People get
Yeah.
frustrated with how slow I drive and how cautious I am.
Grandmother. We got a grandmother here.
They call me Granny Shore. What can I
Granny
say?
Shore.
Um, literally. But I digress. And then he's like, "Oh, that's nothing. What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "When do you start?" And suddenly I'm like, "Oh, so the whole we don't just take anybody who breathes thing was a lie."
Yeah, pretty much.
It was because they were so desperate because so many people quit when the pandemic started
Yeah,
because
totally.
what the job entails is you show up at the crack of dawn. I had to go to the airport. They had so many
Oh
vans,
my God.
they had to rent out like a hangar lot at the airport. So I go to the airport, I get a van. I had to wipe down the entire van. And like most of the people who work there, like I could write a musical about how interesting it is. Um, and it was just like I would get in the vans and there would be like chewing tobacco on the seats. And like it got to the point where like people were being so sloppy that when we checked the vans back in, they had to check for bags of feces. And you
Oh
want to
my
know why? Because
God.
they didn't give us bathroom breaks.
That's insane. That's
They did,
insane.
they did, but they were like, make sure you clock in that you had a bathroom break. But also like we literally had like 250 stops a day in a shift. And if we didn't get them done, we got in trouble. And the only way to get them done is like, and like, I would not take a bathroom break ever.
Oh my Lord.
And by the time it would be over, I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I gotta go. I gotta
Yeah.
go.
Yeah,
Go."
yeah, yeah,
And so the fact that they didn't,
oh
the
my
fact
Lord.
that people were literally like taking a dump in a bag from Market Basket and just like stowing it somewhere and forgetting it at the end of the day. The fact that they didn't realize that that wasn't the employee's problem, but the employer's issue,
Beyond me.
that,
Yeah.
that was it. So basically, job starts. You get to the airport, drive the car to the 9-foot van to the warehouse. You get there, 250 stops. People be out here ordering like 4 things of cat litter,
Oh
um,
my
a
God.
grill, an inflatable family-sized pool. Like each
We're
one of those
never
is
leaving again.
literally because it was COVID. People were like,
Yeah.
"Let's get all of our stuff through Amazon." Oh my gosh, it's so. And I'm like, thanks.
Yeah.
When these people have like these massive driveways,
Oh yeah.
and
New Hampshire. Yep.
it would just be like, I just feel like, oh my gosh. And the worst part of it, we had to load all of that onto the truck in the morning. So I kid you not, average of 3,000 pounds of
Yeah.
goods onto
Oh
this
my
truck
God.
van.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
It
Yeah.
was so much. And if you finish early, oh, too bad. You have to pick up the slack for other people.
Oh my God. That's awful.
So it was horrible,
So yeah,
and I will never. Whenever I can, I don't buy from Amazon. I just think it's
yeah,
horrible. I got paid $18 an hour, which was okay. It was okay. I was thankful for
uh,
it. It
yeah,
helped me make money for rent by the end of the month, and I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful
yeah,
that the owner of that company gave me the job. I know the way that Amazon works is not his fault,
yeah,
um, but at the end of the day, like the fact that we didn't have bathroom breaks, the fact that like the way I was talked to was just
yeah.
horrible by other coworkers, and I don't blame them because the
Mhm.
position they were put in.
Yeah. You know, it
So
yeah. Yeah, it's like the shitty job that, everyone has it. The shitty job they're like, I can't do this for the rest of my life. So I'm gonna,
exactly.
I've had like five of those.
Yeah,
The shitty job that they're like, okay, I can't fucking do this forever. So this is gonna be like this is going to be now, and then I'm going to go do something else. So let's talk about a little bit more about, what you did. Like, that was probably hella motivating to like
oh my god,
start doing your own kind of stuff. So let's talk about a little bit of your stuff. I got
that
a lot of stuff listed here, in no particular order, but you did a lot of like other stuff. You started your own voice studio. You put
I
on
did.
a charity recital with the music school, the Concord Community Music School that you got hired to teach at and sing for. You started playing around with TikTok a little bit.
A little
Also,
bit.
yeah, on the rise, on the rise. We like to say. Uh Playing your games with the stock market like everyone does, but
I
Tyler
bet.
here was an OG before GameStop.
I
Oh
bet.
yeah. And of course, continuing your photography ventures, of course. These were
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
these were the
So
things
where
that
do I
are
start? That was a lot of stuff.
that was a lot of stuff. You could just go rap on them.
Yeah. So to close out the side hustle thing, Amazon, blah, horrible, horrible. And at the end of it, I came home to my mom and my dog, and it was so like awful in the trucks and so dirty that like I had to literally change outside in the backyard and keep my clothes in a bag and then soak it with a hose.
Mhm.
I came inside wearing like a bathrobe, and I was on the verge of tears, and I'm like, Mom, I'm an artist.
Freshly starving.
Exactly. And so I was like, I can't do this anymore. And she, being the best mother ever, 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 was like, Tyler, we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it work. And I'm like, but I don't have enough money in my bank account to pay the rent. She's like, we'll get another job for you. We'll figure it out. And so I sat down and I thought about my goals again. And I was like, something I'm really passionate about is helping other people, being involved in music, art, and making art education more accessible. So
Yeah,
that was something that I was really like, because I didn't get voice lessons until I was a junior in high school,
similar vibes here.
and that was because it was like $70 an hour. Like
Yeah,
we were barely making ends meet. Like my mom's a single mom,
yeah,
um, and we were like, that's not in the cards. Look on YouTube. Like, what's going on? And
yeah,
so when I was a junior in high school, I applied to the Concord Community Music School, and I was like, I love singing. This is what I was born to do. Not just and I when I say that, I don't mean that in like this is what I was born to do. I don't mean it
yeah,
in that way. I mean like this is the thing that makes me truly happy. Like even if I were horrible at it, which like who knows, but um I would still want to do it regardless because it just makes me so happy. And so I went there. They helped me with financial aid, and I was like, wow, they really made this happen for me.
yeah,
So that happened. And then I went to college, and it was what it was. And here I am. And looking back, I was like, what if I did this for someone else?
yeah,
And I went to college. I got more educated about diversity, equity, inclusion. And that became a core part of what I stand for too. Like even though I had it pretty tough growing up, like financially and generationally, like because intergenerational wealth is something that like people don't talk about.
Yeah.
as well as intergenerational trauma. But being a cisgendered man and being white and living in a safe community where I can walk everywhere and having good clean drinking water, like that's a huge privilege.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
if it was hard if it was hard for me with those privileges to get education, then what about people who are not cis man, who are
Yeah,
not white,
absolutely.
who are living in a place like this? And I was like, there are so many issues. And there's so many issues in the performing arts industry, and it starts from the bottom. It starts, and my theory is that it all starts with accessibility to high quality training.
Absolutely.
And so when I took a lot of entrepreneurship and business classes in high school and college. And what all of my mentors always told me is don't start a business to make money, start a company to solve a problem. And so, with that in
That's what you
mind,
did.
that's what I done did.
Yeah.
I founded my company, Four Studios LLC, and my short-term goal was to build up a studio and offer an affordable price that was valuing both my time and also helping to upkeep the website and so on and so forth. I did research into the market and I made sure I was undercutting literally everyone
Yeah.
with similar training. Um, which was not to spite them. I know some companies are like, we don't like how much other places are charging, and that's horrible of them. No, I support every artist, and I think people are entitled to charge what they want to charge. I have nothing against if the
Yeah.
voice teachers out there who are incredible or are like $300 an hour. I'm like, cool, you're amazing. Do that. I root for you 100%. But I am here to offer accessible education,
Yeah.
and so that's what I did. Now I've got like 8 students in my studio for
That's
acting.
incredible.
It's been like 8 months since I formed. Um so that's the short-term goals. And long-term, I really am trying to scale it. I'm trying to over the next few months, I'm going to put some documentation in. I'm currently taking a lot of courses on accounting and business management, and I'm really going to make sure I'm doing everything legal, of course,
Yeah.
so that I really want to make sure I can hire someone for dance, for classical text, for classical voice, and I want to make sure that I'm not just like hiring like
Joe
cis white
Schmo.
people. I wanna hire people of color. I wanna hire non-binary people. I wanna hire people,
Yeah.
and I want people who don't see themselves in the arts to see themselves in their teachers while also having access to them. That's something that's really important to me. I feel like art, if it lives in a bubble, is in itself a privilege,
Yes.
not an expression. It's a garnish. It's not an act. Wow. Here we are, Joe Rogan again.
Yeah, 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 DMT.
uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry to get so philosophical.
Oh yeah, well, that's what the show is for, these kind of
You bet.
conversations,
You bet.
Yeah.
So yeah, here
So
we are. Here we
here we
are. That
are,
was
going the big scale, and then also, I feel like really important to note how much you already did, but the Concord Music School really, community music school really enabled you a lot through this whole pandemic.
oh totally.
With that, you did a charity recital through them, and they kind of
Yeah.
really lifted you up on their shoulders, and they let you kind of do your thing, but also allowed you to lift other people up as well.
Right, right, right.
And that was an
I
incredible recital, like, gotta
oh,
say,
thank you
I
so
loved
much.
it so much. It was so great.
Thank
It
you
was
so
like
much.
the
It's so
a
sweet.
glimmer of hope out of the this void that we live in right now, that is the in between of like before and the after that is coming, probably end of this year, early next year. We're still in the in between, I would say, is what it feels like
Right,
with the
right.
art industry. And I just had to put it out there. There was such a great recital, and I really
That,
love what you guys did with that, and how you went about it was so incredible.
making me tear up here.
I'm
That was
I'm
really
trying to,
that
but
was really
also, yeah. But you guys, you did it right. You did it right. You had people pay online, for the thing, just, to make sure, it's supportive, it's going somewhere. It was, charity, of course, and it was going to a good place. You had people wear masks. You kept things, fresh and real. You did not wear a mask, I remember, but that's because you need the face, you need everything. You can do it with the mask, but everyone around you was wearing masks, and you were
Mhm.
also distanced. Everything was done right, and it was a step in the right direction. And I think that's
Absolutely.
such a big thing that I love that you are doing in like a small place. And like last time when I talked with Duncan, we talked a lot about the localization of art and like making it on the smaller level, like you said, the ground up. And so I think that I just really felt that was so good, and we need to get places like Broadway thinking like this on how they're gonna like bring it up, and obviously more higher up people instead of just relying on what we already have.
Yeah, 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 totally. Back to like talking about the mask thing.
Yeah.
Um, just so everyone gets the
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
impression
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
measure-wise. The only person who was like closer than 10 feet away from me on stage was my brother, who I'm
Live
over at his
with.
house like every day, helping
Yeah.
out with
Yeah.
things around his house, and we're just kind of the family bubble.
Yes.
So he was the only person I was close enough to. The other people were masked, and the audience was 30 feet away from me. It was outdoors, and whenever I wasn't at the mic,
There was a mask.
KN95 mask.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. You
I am
took the right precautions.
absolutely, absolutely. Just want to make that clear to everybody watching.
Absolutely.
And it was, and thank you for everything you said. That's
Yeah.
really kind of you, Isaiah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Long story short, I got home and I saw that there was an opening at the music school that gave me everything.
Yeah.
And I was, you know what? I want to teach. I want to teach. I want to teach there. And so I applied, and the wonderful folks at the music school, Concord Community Music School, Concord, New Hampshire, were like, sure, come on. And they gave me one student. I now have three students, which is awesome. And I was like, I'm going to get more involved. I'm going to do more things. And they're like, well, there's a big theater in town. It's called the Capitol Center for the Arts. It's like the biggest theater in the state. It's huge. And I could be wrong about that. It's like it's one of the top three biggest theaters.
Yeah, what? Well,
Don't
it's New
quote me on that.
Hampshire.
But they get Broadway tours, they get celebrities, and they were like, we want to do a local art series and we want to feature some members of the music school faculty. And I'm like, my anxiety brain was like, don't do it. You're not ready. You haven't performed in it was in August, so
Whatever.
5 months. You haven't performed in almost a
Yeah.
year.
Oh my god.
And I was
Love
like,
the rounding
ah!
up that your brain does.
Exactly. And I'm like, you know what? To heck with it. I'm gonna do it. And so I
Yeah.
didn't hesitate. Well, I did hesitate for a moment, of course, as I just explained. But and then I opened my email. I'm like, yes, thank you so much. I'm going to do it. Send. And I was like, and then it hit me. I was like, oh gosh,
Now
what
you're
did I
putting on a
do?
recital. What am
Exactly.
I
And then
gonna
I got
sing?
exactly. And I made a whole cabaret of it. It was like 9 songs. I get help from one of my mentors, Kathy. She's incredible. And it was a whole thing, and all the proceeds went to supporting the Capitol Center for the Arts and their initiatives, as well as the mission of the Concord Community Music School. So it was really great. We had like 40 people come. Everyone sat like 10 feet apart with masks on
Yeah.
outside. So it was really great. So yeah, that was that.
Incredible. Incredible. Well, that was great. That all happened. We stroked your ego a little bit, but the real question is, what's going on? What's going on in the future? What do we have planned, Mr. Shore? We
What's going on in the future?
yeah.
Um,
Go ahead.
it's like there's so much and so little at the same time, because everything that's happening in the future is all an idea. Um, so I'm currently in the process. I'm auditioning for a few audition conferences. We had a phone call about this. I was running late.
Yeah.
Sorry again.
Yeah.
I was filming 4 dance auditions, in a studio space. It's an old carriage house of. I also teach at an art school called Kimball Jenkins School of Art. They're fantastic. And I messaged the executive director. I'm like, hey, you have a dance floor in one of the galleries. Can I go and use it at night? And they were like, yeah, sure. Go on and do it. Just like don't be too loud because we have someone living in the apartment above the dance floor. And so I go in there, I'm recording, and I'm doing the perfect take. I'm doing the tap dance, and then I hear bang, bang, bang on the ceiling, and I'm like, and so I pack up my things and I run out, and then I come here, and now there's this. But so I'm putting myself out there for auditions, so on and so forth. But what's really a hope and a dream for the future is there's a show I'm working on. I can't reveal
A
many,
thing.
if any, details. Um, there's a few, but I'm going to be really hesitant and say that I'm working on a show that will potentially, if greenlit from the rights holders, debut off Broadway and has a potential to move on Broadway.
Yeah.
I would be playing a supporting role and making my Broadway debut in an original character. Super exciting!
Yeah,
It's
right?
my dream come true. Um, and the show is it's about it's a really great show about supporting the idea of individuality through expression and artistry, and it really supports specifically women in that endeavor. And I think that's something that doesn't get talked about enough in the arts circle, that there's so much of a bias. So being involved in a work, and that's as much as I can say, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Involved in a work like that is really incredible. We're just waiting on, because it's about the life of someone who's a famous musician, and waiting to hear from this famous musician if we can use that music.
And they're quite the recluse.
For good reason. And we appreciate them and we love them, and we're crossing our fingers. We're crossing our fingers. So
here we go.
there's a chance that I'm also auditioning for cruise ships, and I'm also maintaining my studio here in Concord, New Hampshire, and teaching at the Concord Community Music School. So and I'm also working at a hotel, and I'm also doing so many different things.
And also dreaming
and
of a day when you wake up in the city that never sleeps.
Indeed.
Here
Me too.
Me.
You bet, Isaiah.
Oh, yes.
So I'm thinking like August-ish, maybe I'll move.
Yeah.
And that's also lining up with the timeline of the show if it does get greenlit.
If it gets greenlit, I mean, yeah, it just depends on how things are. But I mean, even though it's a bit of a slap in the face, the arena's being open, and in the city in like a week or so here in New York, they're opening the arenas for sports and concerts. Apparently, it is concerts too, not just sporting events. Yeah, but it's a start. It means there's conversations happening, and that's all we can hope for at this point. But if that goes well, fall, I think that's totally a possibility.
Oh yeah, I think it all depends on these variants. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
we don't know how much it's gonna do, etc. Who knows?
Absolutely. I'm crossing my fingers I can get vaccinated, especially since I'm working part-time in a hotel.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Having to literally scrub toilets and clean dirty bedding. Like it's gross.
It's a vibe. Not a good one.
But these are things that just like I know you said you've done a ton of side hustles, and I know you've done a ton of side hustles. Like, doesn't it just make
one I haven't hit?
Yeah. Don't do it.
Nah.
It makes one more thankful for being able to do what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where I'm at with my journey of side hustling.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, cleaning toilets, that's a big no on my list.
Yeah,
I can barely clean my own.
I'm sure many can relate.
Yeah, but yeah, incredible. We have gone on quite a journey today.
We really have.
We really have. We got everything. We got comedy, drama, horror. It's like you went to school for theater.
Almost.
Tyler. Oh my gosh, Tyler, it's been such a pleasure. Do you
And
want to shout out yourself on Instagram, TikTok?
sure.
Give us all the things so people can
So,
follow you.
so on all of my socials, I am tshore04 because I was
Love that
15.
rhyme.
It sounded like it rhymed.
Sounds like a little bit of a Wizzy P23. That's what
Ooh,
I do.
and it's all
That's
over.
my gamer tag.
Oh my gosh. I knew that. I knew
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
tshore04 on TikTok, Instagram, everything. Hit me with a follow. Feel free to reach out to me. I consider myself a fairly chill and approachable person, I would
Yeah,
hope.
yeah.
Yeah.
Living in reality. Which,
Just like you. Also,
yeah.
like, y'all, if this is your first time watching Art Postco, like Isaiah's a real
Oh,
dude. He's a mensch. He's a great
a
fellow.
match.
Like like
Oh my God,
like
man.
like a real human. Like, yeah, you started this thing with the idea of just like telling stories and helping people tell
Yeah,
stories, giving people hope, giving people perspective, and you're
yeah.
doing it. You're doing it.
We're doing it. We're doing it.
So thank you
Once every
for
2 weeks.
oh boy, every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks, Monday at noon Eastern. For you
Monday at
folks
noon
that aren't
Eastern.
in this supreme
Right.
time zone.
Californians.
Californians, I might have some British folk too, if they're listening.
Mhm.
Shout out to all three of you. Um,
Right.
yeah,
Well, thanks so much for having me, Isaiah.
yeah, it's
Um,
been such a pleasure, such a pleasure. So nice to talk to someone who's not 100% just music like myself. Uh,
yeah, yeah.
we're every week we're gonna try and expand more out and out and out. This week we got musical theater. We're doing some crossover, and next week we're hopefully gonna leave music behind for a week or something like that.
No
Next week,
way.
bi-weekly, whatever. 2
Please.
weeks. Shit, I don't know. I'd make a show. It comes out, and you listen to it or you don't. But that's not what matters. Before we go, we gotta do our poll check. Where are we at with this? Did you slam it down? Let's slam it back real quick. We'll slam it back for the show.
I've got the cap on. I'm in. It
It's
just
honestly
this
relatable.
is slow
Very
mo
relatable.
replay.
Yeah. What's the verdict?
It's pretty good. I'm gonna give this like a because Health Aid to me, Health Aid is the best.
Best kombucha?
It's the best because it tastes like it's not too bright. It's got like a flatness with the bitterness. It's a little bit sweet, but it's not too sweet. It's very balanced kombucha. Where I feel like GT's is like straight vinegar. I feel like Brew Doctor, the one you have, is very crisp.
I do like Brew Doctor and segueing because we just say the word segue on this show because
Segway.
segue, whatever the fuck that was. My hand is a dolphin. Throwback to Rebecca Black meme.
She just put out a remix. Check that out.
Oh yeah. But yeah. Oh no shout outs. No shout outs here. No shout outs for Rebecca Black. No. We don't shout out those
Listen,
people.
she's
You
great.
gotta be on the
She's
show
great.
to get the shout out, except for unless you make Brew Dr. Kombucha. I'd give this a wow out of 10. I was really shocked. It makes me feel good. And so yeah, I'm probably gonna get love again. Cause all you need is love. And that, folks, is the show. Thank you
Thanks so
so much
much.
for watching. Thank you, Tyler. Subscribe, like,
Do it.
comment,
What are you
do all the
young?
things.
If you were on this for this long and you were able to put up with me rambling, what are you thinking? Hit that
Yeah.
like, hit that subscribe.
Hit that like button in the
What are
bottom.
you
Yeah.
waiting
What
for?
are you
Come on.
Anyways, thanks so much, guys. Until next time.